Hi, today's book review is on making writing fun. Okay, so I've found that like copywork and this not just copywork, but writing is kind of boring for my kids sometimes. And in general for anyone when you're like, oh, just go write random whatever. But when you have the ability to do it creatively, it makes it more fun. And I've been thinking, oh, I want some writing prompts. I want to collect these and put them all together so it makes it easy for the kids to just grab something and write about it. And amazing awesomeness, right? So this is what I was thinking that I wanted to do. And I went to the homeschool conference last week, the Winter Homeschool Conference. It's awesome. Look it up if you're in Utah or willing to travel here. It's fabulous. And I was there and I was in a class and I was listening about curriculum and I just felt this, you need to leave this class. This is like too overwhelmed, too structured. It's not who I am. I want to be creative and I need to inspire my children and infuse them with this creativity. Anyway, so I felt like I was supposed to get up. So I got up and I left and I walked into the vendor room and this table was spread out and it was gorgeous and there was this lady with a tiara smiling there at me. And I was like, okay, and I was kind of in a funk and I was walking around and looking at her stuff, glancing at her books, and then I saw the title of this book, and this is it. And it's called Insanely Inspiring Writing Prompts for Littles, Middles, and Biggies by Stacy Little. This is the book. And so she had 3 different books there. She has this one, she's got one about homeschooling, and then she's got like a children's book about confidence, I want to say, or self-esteem, something like that. Anyways, so I looked through each one of them and I was like, oh my gosh, all these books are awesome. I want them, right? And I had, so I went about the rest of the conference and the whole thing got over and I was like, I have to go get that book. I don't let her leave. And I said to my son, I'm like, go wait at their table, go wait for her and tell her not to leave because I need that book. And I went over there to get the book. And so she gave it to me, or I bought it from her. And I'm excited about this book because it has all these different things. So I started reading it like 10 o'clock at night on Sunday night, I guess. So the conference was Saturday. Sunday night, I started reading it at like 10 o'clock. I'm like, I'll just read a couple pages before I go to bed because I wanted to get kind of an idea for what it was like. Then it could process in my mind in the night and I could think about it for a couple days and then be able to go back to it, right? I started reading this book and it was super easy to read and she had really great ideas. And as I'm reading through this, it just went through really fast and I literally sat there cold next to my space heater for an hour of reading this entire book, cover to cover, the entire book. I read it and I was like, oh, I love this. It just like happy to my heart and gives me some great ideas to do with my kids. Okay, so they have different sections for each kid based upon little kids, medium kids, bigger kids, and the ways that they can learn and different writing ideas. Okay, so let me just open randomly and give you a prompt idea. Oh, and there's games. There's games on how you can do story games. I've done some, but I didn't have all the ideas together, so this is interesting. Okay, so here's a bigger kid writing prompt. You are sitting in the grandstands when a set of keys drop into your lap. These are not just any keys. They are the keys that fire up a NASCAR that is waiting on the track right in front of you. The crowd starts cheering you on. They're waiting. You stand and what? Or when in life have you been a leader? What did you learn about leadership, about yourself? Is this a comfortable place for you? Would you rather be tucked behind the scenes? Here's another one. What will you do as a parent? What will you do differently than your parents when raising your own children? What might you do just the same? What is the biggest gift you received from being raised in your home? And will you pass that on? Okay, so let's go to a middle-aged kid. Visualize a time when someone you love was laughing so hard that they snorted. What happened to everyone around you, and how did you react? Okay, here's another one. And there was a day that your worst enemy turned into an animal. How did that turn out? What was the hardest thing about being your age? What was expected of you? What expectations do you place on yourself? What happens when an elephant eats too much? Should you run? Should you hide? Maybe grab your camera or snow shovel? Okay, there's tiny kids prompts. Good. Today's Ice Cream Invention Day. Woohoo! What flavors and combination will you combine to make the latest and greatest ice cream creation? What will you name it? Who's the first person you'd share it with? If you were an explorer, what would you explore? What would you find? Would you make a new discovery? What foods would you take with you? And what new foods would you try on your Oh, I totally skipped. Okay, go back. I skipped that one. Okay, today's Ice Cream Invention Day. Woohoo! What flavors would you combine to make the latest and greatest ice cream creation? What would you name it, and who's the first person you would share it with? Sorry, I mixed the two. The second one was this one. If you were an explorer, where would you explore? What would you find? Would you make a new discovery? What foods would you take with you? And what new foods would you try on your expedition? So it's just things to get people, to get their brain going. And I love this. Anyways, there's different ideas about making notebooks where they can write their stories and save their stories and telling stories together. And I loved the copywork jar. That's brilliant. So look up copywork jar to get the book. Fabulous. I will post the link somewhere. But I like this book. It's awesome. I'm excited to use it in my homeschool. Thanks.